Prime Minister Justin Trudeau attending the NATO conference in Montreal this morning after a weekend of violent protesting. CTV's Colton Praill is following the story. Now, Clinton, Canada is not meeting with its NATO obligations as of now, so what consequences could there be there?
Yeah, absolutely. The Prime Minister just speaking, talking about the importance of NATO, specifically in light of just passing the 1,000-day mark of the Russia-Ukraine war. But the fact is, Canada is facing immense pressure from its NATO allies, and the Prime Minister will face some of that pressure in the room that he just spoke in over the lack of funding for the Canadian military. We're still below the 2% of GDP spending for the military budget that NATO outlines for its members. When it comes to actual percentage of spend, Canada is among the worst in the organization. 27th out of 32. This has been a long-standing issue for the Canadian government. It's been a long point of frustration for our allies, and we are seeing international consequences already. Canada has been excluded from international security groups like Quad and AUKUS, which include some of our closest allies, Australia, the UK, and the US. But more so, moving forward in the Trump administration, there are economic concerns. Donald Trump has already said he won't protect allies who don't hit the 2% target. And certainly when it comes to tariffs and a new free trade deal, this is going to be a key point of consideration for the U.S. They will use those negotiations as a tool or as a leverage to try to get Canada to increase its military spending. We saw the Republican chair of the Intelligence Committee, Mike Turner, speaking with CTV News just this past weekend, talking about how Canada's military spend is far from where it needs to be, and that if Canada just modernized its equipment, its training, and its personnel, we would be at a point where we would likely hit our 2%. Now, there has been pushback from the Canadian government, but this issue has extended for such a long time that we're seeing more and more of our allies, including those outside of the U.S., speaking very openly about the need to hit this 2% target. A reminder, Canada is one of the few countries in NATO that does not have a costed plan to get there. The parliamentary budget officer says we'd have to double our military spend to about $82 billion a year in order to hit that target. We don't plan to even get close to that by 2030. Andrew Brennan, excuse me.
Thank you very much, Praill Colton. We appreciate your time. We'll chat soon. There's a lot more to break down in this, so I know we'll chat later. Thanks a lot.